Hi, welcome to Coffee with Ken. We want to talk today about vision, the law of vision. And we already know that the Bible says without vision, the people perish. So we're going to talk about that today.
Yeah.
So,
The people perish.
Again,
lack
welcome
of.
to Coffee with Ken.
Welcome.
Yes.
Good
so
morning.
we want to welcome, obviously, Ken Brown, the CEO of Destiny Global. We want to welcome Butch McCracken, who is the general manager here at Destiny Global, and I'm April Brown, who is a coach and coach trainer here for Destiny Global, and
my lovely wife.
and married to him.
It's true.
So we want to talk about the law of vision, and it's so important. It really is, because just think about what you can't see will not happen.
Yeah.
If you can't see it, it won't happen. And that's where faith and belief come in as well. I mean, because if you have a vision but you don't really believe in it, you don't really have, it doesn't really line up with who you are or your values also, it's not really going to come to fruition.
No.
Yeah.
So can you talk about that, maybe just your experience with that, of really how important vision has been for you to have success in your business and relationships? What's really been fundamental for you?
Well, I'm happy to jump into this one. As you all know, working for Ross Perot for a number of years in EDS, every year we started off the company, we worked before the beginning of the year. So starting off in about September, October, we began to talk about what would be happening the next year. And this is something that he brought into the company. In fact, it was so strong that failing to plan was planning to fail. And you always hear all these people talk about it. I watched it lived every single year. No matter what we were doing, we would stop and have a massive meeting with the powers that be. And we would come up, and each business unit would get to come up with its concept of what it wanted to do next year to impact people, so it wasn't just clients and making money. It was actually where we would want to do as employees. It'd want to be different trainings that we'd want to attend. And we put all that in, and of course then work on the budget to make sure how we're going to pay for this stuff, to make sure that we're counting the cost. But that vision was always bigger than where the company was at the time. It could never be something, and it could be completely outside the box. I mean, so one year it was, we're going to support a sports organization that we've never done anything, and it needs to be on a global scale. And it was FIFA. We did World Cup, you remember? And we just didn't halfway do it. They did it all the way, and we had all the materials. And so you're talking about a company that doesn't exist to then goes up to about 500 million in sales and then disappears, because it happens every 4 years. What is FIFA? It's this World Cup of soccer. So it's like Super Bowls times 20, right? Because they're just constantly being built up to them. And I remember setting off to the vision of how this is going to be done, and then all the systems and things around it to showcase what our company could do to help your company. And that vision, and taking that vision into our own life, is what did we want out of our life?
Yeah.
Right?
When that was introduced, what was your first thought when that was introduced as such a huge vision?
Well, it was terrifying to an extent, because they put me, what I kind of failed to mention is they ended up putting me in charge of that. Something I've never really talked about, because we don't talk about a lot of other, sometimes our past, we talk about our future. But, when you think about what was going on, it was, the company was in a rapid growth phase. We moved into about, we were in 32 or 33 countries at that time. And there were a lot of different activities. And I was putting over really the financial management and implementation of it, along with a group in Vicky Iacovone and Debbie Snyder, as you know. Hello, folks. I hope that you're listening for this time. If not, I'm going to send this out and remind you. But it was just absolutely incredible, the size of what it was talking about. And then the logistics of moving people all over the world, because we were responsible for, but it's not only helping get the venue set up, but the ticket distribution. And we didn't have a ticketing system. So guess what we did after that?
Yeah.
Wow.
So we developed and distributed tickets everywhere.
But at first you had this, it was overwhelming. You said you had this, it was did you say fear, or you had this?
It was apprehensiveness. I don't know if so much as fearful, because we really just believed we could do anything, right? We were edzers,
Invincible.
man. We could
So
do anything.
Tell me about that.
Well-
and especially the culture of belief around something like that, because it's not just at the top. How do you get that belief into the people that you're working with that you can do this? Because it's never been done before.
Well, it's interesting because a vision without tasks or objectives put to it is just a dream. It's going to never ever happen. So vision, we talk a lot about this as first steps, as you know, but really it ties in so well, because it's really taking that big piece and you break it into steps, and getting it into steps that were actionable. Then you started realizing how much it was going to take to do it. That's what became, once you started breaking things down into steps, you realized this is going to be, we have 2 years to get this done. That's when we signed up for the process, Butch, and then until we would have to start executing. And it was going to take us about 18 months to get everything done. It was that big of a project. But everything was being done where we were showcasing technology for the client, for our prospective clients as well as our current clients. And then they were able to participate with us. So what ended up happening is this event, and it was in 1994, and everything, and I can remember like it was yesterday. And so all of this technology, all the people and all of our clients came together, and we worked on this as a project together. So their companies were growing, we were growing with them, and we were serving people who love soccer, and we were serving an industry, if you will. And it was just, it was kind of magical in the sense that it happened. And I've never been part of something that was that successful so quickly. From zero to $500 million in sales, Butch, at that time, in a 3.5 month period.
In
From the time that we
1994.
opened ticket sales to the time that it was done, and it was sold out. There was no more. And then this people calling in that was scalped that were trying to buy tickets, remember that.
Yeah.
But we had hospitality things in order, so when our clients would come, they had different levels of hospitality they could do. And we had giant, I can remember this day because we gave your aunt one of these. We had a giant chocolate bars with FIFA and all the teams' names listed on it. But it was the biggest Godiva chocolate bars you have ever seen in your life.
Yeah, you gave that to my aunt after her daughter had gotten married, and she was exhausted, and she loves chocolate. So it
You
was
don't have
like,
to have any extra ones at home, do you?
You know, but I'll have to go back and look. They might be a little aged by now.
Yeah.
But really what we're getting to is your vision is setting something out of this bigger than you that you set out to accomplish. And look at our vision for what we start every year. April and I start our year off by planning together for really the 10 areas of our life that we cover here as a company, which is very first section of, First Steps to Wealth. The book that Danny wrote and we refer to so often because it contains the laws. It's just really first steps in a book. But when you start off your vision, you're setting out for what you're going to accomplish, and you're gathering people with you to accomplish that goal.
so you say you had objectives, but still, objectives, people look at that and it can be overwhelming as well. And I know you have to break it down into the smallest of things, but really, how do you get people on board with such a huge vision? I'm thinking of objectives. That's awesome. Do you have
Sitting here thinking the big thing is your environment. So I'm sure at EDS, the process started many years before FIFA,
For sure.
right?
Yeah,
With
it
the
doesn't
hiring,
start with just
Way
that,
before
Right.
that.
that one
with
event.
the talent
Right.
and hiring the right culture, and because environment's everything, right? So that when you drop something like a FIFA that you've never done before and you've got 2 years to get it done, you're starting with a team that you've already built that is aligned with you.
That's it. That is what we've just over and over and over again has been such our mantra is alignment. It's so important. If
It
people
is.
are not on board with it, if they're not in alignment with it, then you're just not going to be able
Yes.
to get them
Right.
up to that speed and time to be able to really accomplish that.
Totally.
Well,
No, absolutely.
It is coming into agreement when you take on but you kind of nailed it. It's when you're really deciding on what you're going to do and getting people to come along with you. It's inspiring people. It's getting them to accept that vision as their own. And when people own a vision and they owned it because it wasn't, it's so much bigger than I was. and so much bigger than any one of us at EDS at the time, quite frankly. But when we came together as a team, it was absolutely
powerful.
amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah.
can
And
imagine.
yeah, it was amazing. And then to watch the people, I can remember the work getting there was really good. But when you start watching your vision being accomplished, it will transform your life. I
Yeah.
promise you this. Because remember, we went to it was one of the venues was the Cotton Bowl in Texas, which is at the State Fair of Texas. And I was just telling Elaine about that today. It's in October, and it is something because everything, Christy Miller,
On the books.
everything is fried at the Texas State Fair. You can get anything you want. I mean, fried Oreos, fried
Fried
Snicker
butter.
bars, fried butter. It's crazy. I got totally
Why
got
are
off
we
track.
talking about
I got
this
totally
right
off
now,
track
too, when
because
I'm
we were going to the fair.
staying on track?
So at the Cotton Bowl for the soccer match was the day we saw everything came through, because as you're walking through and you're taking the clients to their VIP sections and they're able to everything is scanned, everything is totally automated. They go through, every person had their own hospitality thing that they came to, and it was so flawless. But I watched the employees see how satisfied that the clients were and how overwhelmed they were. Because football, to me, not soccer, American football is my sport. But when you see people coming from all over the world and literally coming and seeing, because we also, what we did is we had the players walk in between. Of course, it was protected, but they walked in front. And I can remember the people standing there, and this was before you had all the cell phones you were taking pictures of. The cell phones then were basically bricks. You know, this is a while ago, okay? But they would all have their cameras. And I can remember they have them little Fujis or Kodaks or whatever it was, and they were snapping pictures and literally weeping because of how everything was organized. It was done so officially, and they'd walk down to the field, and them being so close to their icons and people that they had admired, and looking at one another said, "Can you believe that we just moved these people and the organization to get people in and out of these huge stadiums and everything organized?" And it was absolutely incredible. But watching other people seeing their vision, their vision of being able to come and participate in
Yeah.
this. Yeah. And when you do that, every person has their own bit of ownership and a vision that's accomplished.
Yes, I love that ownership. Like
Yeah.
that alignment. You have to be in alignment.
Yes.
Then they have to have ownership of it. You cannot push people
No.
along. Like they have to be completely owning it as well. So I love that. Is there a particular way which that you've helped people like kind of get into that alignment and ownership if they're kind of there, but you like help them along a little bit?
So, I guess on like a personal level, going from having no vision for health personally, okay, and then after coming out of my first Dynasty, an event that we also put on, making a decision that there's got to be something better for my life, pathetically out of shape and everything, and then 10 months later running a marathon. Right? Something that I thought was never possible.
Right.
And I remember my coach telling me back east, he said, "Butch, you need to tell everybody what you're doing. Tell the postman, the plumber, the newspaper boy." He said, "Why? Because they're always going to ask you, how's it going? They're going to be your
Accountability.
cheerleader to support your vision for what you're doing. You're going to need that support." So I think it's
That's
critical
good.
to in that alignment, to support the vision of the person that you're coming alongside, whether it's a business or personally, and understand that it is a vision, no matter what they tell you
Right.
and what they're looking forward to. How can I support them? How can I encourage
Yeah.
them to press into that vision? Because once you accomplish that vision, like you just shared, there's no greater feeling
Yeah.
It's
than
victory.
accomplishing that.
Yeah.
It's victory.
Yeah.
And it's
Probably.
watching other people accomplish their goals too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that too. Continually putting it before them, like just even expressing it. Remember our vision.
It's not ego.
Let's keep going.
So many times we think, "Oh, I'm bragging because of what I'm doing." It isn't. To whatever vision, whatever task you're put in front of you, it's going to take effort to get to that. So
Yeah.
lay the ego aside and get that support, because we all need it. Whether you're the
Can't do it by
CEO at the
yourself.
top
Yeah.
or at the very bottom of the chain. It doesn't matter. We all need to be encouraged.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
we have to
that's
have a little
awesome.
bit of you know what? And I will tell you, some part of ego is there for a reason. You know, God gave it to us. There's a negative side and there's a positive side. The one is when you tell a person with my certain personality type that you're not going to be do it, I say get back and watch me, right? So it's kind of, you have to step into that, and you have to bring an attitude and surround yourself with people that are going to encourage you to do that. But this has been great.
Yeah. So that's awesome. Just remembering that vision is so important for your life, first of all, that you take ownership of it and get people in alignment that are in alignment with you. That's very, very powerful information for us to take away from this.
Yeah.
So if you want to learn what Ken had spoken about, is that we have a coming in July,
We
a
do.
First Steps to Success in Pensacola, Florida. Did
We
y'all hear that?
do.
Pensacola, Florida. We get to be by the beach, warm weather. It's going to be fabulous. And so that's July 29th through the 31st.
Right.
So we want you there because
we do.
it will help you to get your vision clear. It will help you to put those action steps and be around people, what we just talked about. They're all on the same journey to find their vision and come into alignment with that. And it's going to be our first time together in a very long time. So we're really, really excited
Super
about this
excited.
one. We want you to come and participate.
Yes.
So information below. And be sure that you like Destiny Global, our page, that you share this
Share
Coffee
it,
with
share it,
Ken.
share
Share
it.
it, share
Yes.
it, share it, so that people also can hear about their vision. Do you know anybody that needs some vision? Share this with them as well, or tag them in this. So
Yes.
we're very excited. Also, before the July event, First Steps to Success, we are going to have a King's Ransom Foundation where 100% of all of the funds proceeds for King's Ransom goes to feed the poor, the widow, the orphan,
Right.
and the needy. 100%. There's not very many organizations that can really, really say that. So we want to do a volunteer day in Pensacola, Florida. We're partnering
Thursday
with a
before.
church there that will serve people there. And we're excited about that. And then after that, on Thursday night, this is Thursday morning, that we'll have the volunteer day. Thursday night, we will have a youth night. That
Grooming
is
the
going
next
to
generation.
be amazing.
Yes, it is.
Yes. Our generation is being groomed one way or the other.
Right.
You better get them to things. Even in colleges, even in their schools today, they're being programmed. That is not helping them to have vision, to have how to set that vision and to get clear about it and how to take steps towards it. So that Thursday night is so important to get your kids, your young people there, to hear Carmen, Jackie, and Ken, who have
Yes.
been successful, have at a young age had that vision and put it into practice, that your young people can hear that and be inspired by it. So we want to welcome you all to that. And thanks for joining us. And we'll see
Yes.
y'all
Yes.
next week on Coffee with Ken.
Thank you.
Thank
Have a
you.
great day.
See ya.